Kirkland police say it started with a 911 call from this home. It's where the sister of soccer star Hope Solo lives with her family. The caller said a woman there was hitting people and refused to leave. And when officers arrived, they could hear the fight going on inside. That's where they found Solo. She appeared to be drunk, and investigators believe she assaulted both her 17-year-old nephew and her sister.
I started hearing sirens.
Next door, 9-year-old Haley Barasio heard the commotion.
Oh, okay. And so I looked out my window and I saw a light.
After some interrogation and investigation, they saw visible injuries on Hope Solo's 17-year-old nephew and on her sister. It was eventually determined that Solo was the primary aggressor in that assault. She was arrested and booked on 2 counts of domestic violence.
Neighbors say they didn't realize that the family who lived here was related to the soccer star. A few doors down, this neighbor was enjoying a World Cup game and said the arrest casts a shadow on Solo's image.
You know, hear something like that, it is very disappointing, especially she's like the face of the U.S. women's team, so to know that someone that has that much influence is doing something like this is pretty sad.
Even though Hope Solo has a history of being a winner in team activities, one can't help but wonder whether she's more comfortable just taking her ball and going home to play by herself. Remember 2007 Women's World Cup. Team USA was riding high, but Hope was benched for the semifinal game after the loss, which, by the way, ended a 51-game winning streak. Hope's unkind post-game comments caused her to be shunned by her teammates. Collectively, they decided that she wouldn't be playing in the bronze medal game. ABC's Dancing with the Stars. Hope and her dance partner Max made it to the semis before they got the boot, but controversy erupted when Hope's memoir blasted Max and accused him of slapping her on several occasions. For those who watched the show, she may be better remembered for her bad attitude than her bad dance moves on the dance floor. And who could forget a little premarital domestic violence? The day before Hope's wedding to former NFL player Jeremy Stevens, the groom-to-be was arrested for domestic violence. The case was dismissed when a judge determined there was insufficient evidence to hold him, and the nuptials did proceed as planned. Thankfully, no law enforcement officers participated in the honeymoon. And now, perhaps ironically, Hope is due in court this afternoon where she finds herself at the center of another dispute, this time as a criminal defendant. You know, every problem I ever had one thing in common: me. At some point, it may be useful for Hope to ask herself about her role in these dramas. Maybe a judge will even put her in timeout and give her some real alone time for that kind of contemplation. Joining me on the phone to sort all of this out, Chris Daniels of King TV in Washington. Hey, Chris.
Well, good afternoon to you there. I can tell you that there's a lot that we still don't know about the arrest of Hope Solo over the weekend here in the Seattle area. The town of Kirkland is where this incident allegedly took place. And frankly, Hope Solo is a big star here in the Seattle area. She went to the University of Washington. She's not only the goalie for the U.S. women's national team, she's also the goalie for the local women's soccer team, the Seattle Reign, that is undefeated on the season. They sell her jersey. She is the face of that franchise as well as the face of U.S. women's soccer. So a lot has not come out over the weekend. We do expect in court perhaps some more details about this incident. Already her attorney has come out, Todd Maybrown, and said that Hope is not guilty of any crime. And we can look back at that incident a couple of years ago that you just detailed involving her husband, Jeremy Stevens, who is also a former professional athlete. In that case, he was accused of being the aggressor towards Hope Solo, but was never charged in any crime after a lot of fanfare there. So we do expect some more details and some more to come out here about this incident that apparently happened over the weekend.
Thanks so much. We appreciate the update. In the meantime, let's bring in Mike and Vinny. Let's talk a little bit about Hope and some of these recent activities. We're all familiar with the world of soccer,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
Let's break out the, is that why we're standing here in a particular walled fashion? Let's break out the card. We're going to play a little yellow card, red card. First, let's talk about that original incident from the Women's World Cup, where Hope made some really unkind remarks about some of her colleagues, and they wouldn't even let her play in that semifinal game. Is that a yellow card offense, or is that a red card, get out of here kind of an infraction? Mike Brooks?
Red card.
Oh, Mike Brooks says red card. Tell us why, Mike.
Because of her attitude. You know what? She didn't play because she had a bad attitude and she was benched. So you know what? She's getting a red card. You're out of here.
Yeah, Vinny, you got a different opinion.
Yellow for having the bad attitude and not being a great teammate. Not a red card if it had gotten physical. If she had, got into a fight with a teammate, something like that, I give her a red card. Here, I just give her the yellow.
You know, I got to go with the red card in this.
Really?
There's a betrayal here where you're throwing your teammates and your coach under the bus. I think those are comments that you best keep to yourself.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about Dancing with the Stars. Obviously, both of you guys, dancing fans. I know we do a lot of dancing behind the scenes here.
Yes.
So, Vinny, let's start with you. You know, she came out with this tell-all memoir alleging that she'd been slapped around by her dancing partner. What do you think about that? Yellow card or red card?
That's yellow. For me, that's yellow. And it's the same reason that I gave yellow for the first one. Is, again, it's the attitude. It's how you deal with a teammate. But, again, it doesn't get to the point of physicality. No one is being harmed. No one is being hurt. Feelings are being hurt. Bad attitude, yellow card.
Well, but she says that she was the one who was hurt. I don't know. What do you say about that, Mike?
Oh, poor little Hope Solo. You know what? I got tired of her whining on the show. Every time I turned it on there, I don't watch very often, but I turned it on. It was almost like a train wreck because I wanted to see what happens with her next. Red card, she was out of there.
All right. I'm going with Vinny on this one. I'm going to go yellow. Mike, you scared me a little bit on that.
No.
That's all I'm saying. Well, so now what about this current? Obviously, there's a lot that's unknown here, but Mike, what do you think? What's your sense based on what you're seeing?
Right now, yellow card until we hear more, if there's enough to file charges. But she, they locked her up, so there was probable cause to arrest her. What's the final thing? Well, she may get a red card in the end, but for right now, it's going to be yellow.
All right, I don't know whose fault it is, what happened. That'll all come out, but someone did get hurt, okay? Someone gets hurt, you get a red card from me.
Yeah, I don't know. Injury, if it's true what it is that they accuse her of doing.
Was hurt no matter what.
Well, Solo was hurt in that prior. Well, someone was hurt, though, in this one. Now she's accused of injuring a couple of her family members. I got to say, that's the red card for me.
Never take sides against the family.
Well, but of course.
But if they could have been charged too if it had been the crisscross, and they weren't.
Well, let's see how this shakes out in a court of law, not the court of public opinion. But of course, there are two sides to every story. Up next, three sides. Up next, Hope Solo's attorney speaking out and claiming that she is the victim. U.S. women's soccer star Hope Solo making her first court appearance this afternoon in Washington State. She's charged with domestic violence in the alleged weekend beating of her sister and nephew. But Solo's attorney is saying, not so fast today. He released the following statement, quote, Hope is not guilty of any crime. In fact, our investigation reveals that Hope was assaulted and injured during this unfortunate incident. We look forward to the opportunity to present the true facts in court and having this matter behind Hope very soon. So here's Vinny, Mike, Joey, and Kimberly with me. Let's take this on right now. Hey, Joey, I want to start with you because you've represented some high-profile folks before. What are the challenges of representing somebody with the profile of a Hope Solo?
The challenges are you have discussions like this, Darren, where we're all sitting around, talking about the case and whether or not she actually did it. Did she really? Is it self-defense or something else involved? But as the attorney stated, of course, and we don't anticipate or expect, Darren, that the attorney would say anything different but that my client is innocent. We'll see. Who started this argument? Who started the fight? Was there a fight? Did anybody get seriously injured? Was she provoked? Was she not provoked? So there's a lot more that has to come out. And at the end of the day, maybe, Darren, she is innocent as charged.
Well, it's so interesting because normally in domestic violence cases, we think about the man as the aggressor. And here, one of the challenges, I think, for everybody involved are the gender issues that arise where you've got a female defendant. So, Kimberly, what do you think about that? And how would that impact your defense strategies here?
That's a good question, Darren. I do think that the gender is going to play an issue. However, we're talking about Hope, who has had issues before with being overly aggressive in public. And so this is not really a surprise that it's her and these particular types of charges that we're dealing with. So I think that aspect's going to hurt a little bit. And now she's clearly going to try to make an excuse and say, I didn't do this. I find it rather... I'm not sure I'm buying that, because I don't think the cops would have actually taken her to jail and let her spend the weekend if there wasn't sufficient evidence to support that. I actually think it's a really good sign that the court is seeming to hold her to the standard that everyone else is held to in these types of cases.
Cops always get it right, Mike Brooks?
Yeah, of course, right, Mike Brooks?
Absolutely, Joey. You know, but on that fact, you know, there were other people who were there at this party, so there must have been other witnesses against her, and that's the reason why the cops went ahead and locked her up.
That's why I'm so surprised that the attorney came out today and didn't just say she's not guilty, but accused other people of committing a crime, saying if she's the victim, then someone else is a criminal in this case.
Right.
So is that the sister and the nephew? And that's an accusation by that defense attorney.
Or is there somebody else who's involved? But, you know, I'm getting a lot of activity on Twitter, Vinny, people wondering why it is that she spent the entire weekend locked up. And in Washington State, they've got a policy that where you're arrested for domestic violence, there is no posting bail. But what do you think is the rationale behind all of that?
Well, it's safety. I mean, you know how volatile situations can be in a home. And traditional domestic violence is, you know, husband, wife, spouse, however it works inside a home.
Right.
This isn't that particular situation, but the law is written in such a way that the people closest to each other get so emotional that it can be so volatile and so dangerous, and you don't want to immediately remove someone from that situation and then place them back in, because when you place them back in, it becomes even more dangerous because now they've just been arrested. Right. So they may, in the end, be angry, even more angry with you, and that's why the law is written the way it is.
And obviously when people get brought to court, then you have other opportunities to issue protective orders and things of that nature to help keep the peace so that we don't have to have guys like Mike Brooks coming in to fulfill on the social worker function, which...
Exactly.
He's a gentle giant, Darren.
Difficult situation.
It is.